Hello and welcome back once again to my channel. So in today's video, I'll be sharing with you tips for creating web content. So let me take you to the roadmap of my presentation. So first, I'll be dealing with the concept. Second, I will talk about the types. Third, I will share with you certain factors that one should keep in mind while designing web content. Fourth, I will give you the importance. And lastly, I will share with you certain tips that one should follow while creating web content. So let us deal with these topics in greater detail. So I would say that web content is any written matter that is shared on the web page. And this written matter could be from the perspective of informing the audience, educating the audience, and entertaining the audience. So having understood the concept, let us now talk about the types of web content. Number one is the first is the blogs, which is a very common type of web content that is more writers, are trying to write blogs and reach out to the audience or reach out to the public and draw more fan following towards their web page. Now, these blogs have become very common as they do not follow any particular format. And moreover, it's easy, when you are expressing your opinion only and people are not, blindly believing in the information that you have shared. But nowadays, blog writing, apart from sharing just the opinion of the writers, it has become more common that the writers, collect information from different sources, maybe from the research paper or from newspaper articles, and these are actually acknowledged and in the blog, in the content that is shared in blog. So the information in blogs have become, to a certain extent, reliable and verifiable. Moreover, after the content, most of the writers, they also have a reference section wherein, they share the links of the different sources from where they have collected the information, or they share, the research papers that has been published by certain researchers. So therefore, nowadays, the content in blog can also be quoted as a part of your reference work in research paper. So having understood blogs, let us now move on to the next type of web content, that is case studies. So case studies have become a very common way of marketing about a particular organization. So instead of just talking about what the product is manufactured by a particular organization prefer to write a case study and share it with the readers. And this case studies become more interesting because it is from the perspective of a problem that they have identified in the organization, a problem that is being shared about a particular organization, and how the organization has been able to tackle the problem, has been able to solve the problem. So therefore, these type of case studies are drawing more fan following. Next is a checklist. Now, the checklist is actually a list of things to be checked or done. Now, these are actually formats that are designed to perform repetitive activities and even to verify or list of requirements, or to collect data in an orderly and systematic manner. So this checklist are very useful from the reader's perspective because they can use this checklist in order to collect data in an orderly, or learn how to collect data in an orderly and systematic manner, or even to perform repetitive activities in a systematic manner. So having understood checklist, now let us move on to the ebooks. The ebooks has become another common way of attracting the audience, because most of the audience, since they do not have the time, to read a book at home, they are so preoccupied, with their work in the organization as an employee or as a student. Also, you're so much preoccupied, with so many things, that we have to do as a student. So therefore, you don't have so much time to spend, reading a book at home. So the best way to keep yourself, to pursue your dream of reading a book, or to pursue your hobby of reading a book, you tend to read a book while traveling, and that is the best way that one could do, is through the form of ebooks. And so they're becoming very popular, and there's a lot of fan following for these ebooks. Then the website copy. A website copy is the entire theme of the website that you have designed. So instead of asking the audience or the readers to go to a particular website, to visit your website and read all the information that you have mentioned in your website, if you can give, the entire theme of your website in one page, which is also called as the home page, that will be more interesting for the audience or the readers. So therefore, on the basis of the home page, they can decide whether whether they want to gather more information or go into the details of your website and accordingly be a part of your website. So having understood the types, let us now move on to the format, the factors that one should keep in mind while designing a web page. The first is the content strategy. The second is audience's readability. The third is the ability to reflect upon the content. The fourth is website optimization. Now, I will deal with the four aspects in greater detail. So first is content strategy. The content strategy would mean that before even writing the content, it is mandatory for the writer to plan his or her content. So planning is important from the perspective of finding out the purpose of why the writer is writing the content and for whom he is writing the content, that he should be sure about the target audience. He should be clear about who are his audience, and then he should also be clear as to how he is going to present the information to the audience, in what manner he should present so that he can attract the audience in a much better way. So the planning of the content strategy means that you are planning on the basis of while creating the content, while delivering the content, while governance of the content, and of course, you are also trying to attract the audience. So every writer needs to have a strategy in his mind before even he starts writing the content, and it is very essential so that all these aspects are very clear in his mind, and thus he can move ahead with his content and reach out to a wider audience. So having understood the content strategy, let us now move on to the audience's readability. So the audience's readability would mean that again you have to be very clear about the target audience. Now sometimes a writer is clear about the target audience and he has set up a target audience, but in that case, if he has set up a target audience, he might write content only from the perspective of the target audience. In that way, he's restricting himself to only a particular set of audience. So instead of restricting yourself to a particular set of audience, you should be able to reach out to a wider audience. So therefore, you can use language in such a way so that you can reach out to a wider audience. So suppose if someone is not aware of a particular concept or a particular topic, if you simplify that information, automatically more and more readers will visit your website or web page and accordingly get a clear picture of the content. So the target audience would determine that you should be simple and straightforward, or you should use simple language, and you should try to explain every aspect of the concept to make it very clear to all the people who visit your web page. So having understood this, let us now move on to the content reflection. So after I finish writing, as a writer, I finished writing my content, I need to reflect upon the content. So I will reflect from the perspective of the purpose of the content. Is my purpose clear? Am I able to convey the message with clarity, with conviction? Am I able to reach out to my target audience? And am I able to present the information in a simple manner rather than confusing the readers or the audience? And am I able to grab the attention of audience from the perspective of the time they spend reading the content? So if they are spending a lot of time, automatically it becomes very boring for the readers. So I have to minimize the words that I'm using. That is, I have to be brief and concise while writing the content for a web page. So having said this, let us now move on to the website optimization. The website optimization is a process wherein you improve the backend and you also create user-friendly pages, and you try to build links in order to help the readers navigate for more information to a particular related to particular concept. And you also start analyzing whether your content is appropriate for the target audience or is valuable for the target audience. So this analysis will be based upon your objective approach towards your content rather than being very subjective. So you have to be critical enough when you are analyzing the content. Next is the importance. So when we are moving on to the importance, I would say that designing a web page adds value to your product, adds value to whatever you are manufacturing, adds value to the organization that you represent. Then it also leads to a broader fan following, and the people get to know more about you, and you rise in rankings. And you must be aware that in Google search engine, the search result that comes on top, that is the one that is most viewed, and that is the one that is most like opened or looked upon. So therefore, if you rise in rankings, automatically people will visit your web page, web content, and they will understand what is it that you're marketing, what is it that you're selling, or what is it that you are trying to reach out to the audience. So having discussed the importance, let us now discuss the tips, or I would say I would share certain tips, that you should for understand while writing web content. So every writer should have a well-defined purpose, and we should be able to understand the audience in a much better way in terms of what is it that they're looking forward to, what is it that they would be interested in, and so on. And knowledge of competitors is very important, because with this knowledge, we can even try and change the our product according to the needs of the audience. We can also change the marketing strategy according to what the competitors are doing, and therefore we can attract the audience towards our product. And next is we should be able to draw the attention of the audience, and we should also help the audience to navigate to the other page comfortably. And we should encourage action from the readers. That is, we should ask the readers to either sign up or to subscribe, or ask them to post a comment at the end of the content. So therefore it becomes very mandatory for the readers who to read the entire content. If they have to post a comment, or if they want to subscribe, they should go browse through the content in order to subscribe, in order to find out whether it is actually useful for them, and thus they can utilize the content for future purpose. Next is we should avoid spelling and grammar mistakes when we are sharing information, and we should add visuals in order to make it more attractive and impressive. So having said this, I would like to thank all of you for your patient listening.